They say that in the playoffs, it isn't the team with the most talent that wins, but the team that can carry the heaviest burden. Tonight, at a floodlit St Mary's, that burden feels heavier than ever. We are 90 minutes away, perhaps 120, perhaps even the agony of a penalty shootout, from knowing who will walk out at Wembley on May 23rd to face Hull City. But as the 32,000 fans filing into this stadium know, this isn't just a game of football anymore. It has become a battle of integrity, a clash of philosophies, and a match played under the long dark shadow of Spygate 2.0. The accusations have been thrown, the charges filed, and the tension is at breaking point. Tonight, the Championship's two most explosive stories collide for the final time. Welcome to the second leg of the EFL Championship playoff semi-finals. A very warm welcome to St Mary's. I'm Charlie McGuinness, and the scenes around us, a sea of red and white, a wall of noise, and that palpable sense of anxiety that only the playoffs can produce. We're in the early evening on England's south coast. Southampton have already tasted glory here in the cup competitions, brushing past Arsenal. They've already made their trip to Wembley on a day where they themselves were brushed aside by Manchester City. And tonight they could book another date at the National Stadium, albeit with the spectre of controversy hanging over their heads. This time last year, Southampton were a club in mourning, dropping out of the Premier League with a whimper. On November the 1st, they were languishing in 21st position, looking more like League One candidates than promotion contenders. Enter Tonda Eckert, the manager who has engineered a staggering 19-game unbeaten run to crash the promotion party. But standing in his way is Middlesbrough, a club that spent 217 days in the top two this season. That's more than Coventry City, the champions, only to suffer a late collapse that left them in fifth. Kim Hellberg's men have been the nearly men all year, but tonight they have the chance to rewrite their history. And we have to address the elephant in the room, the spying scandal. It sounds like a Cold War thriller. Analysts on hillsides, deleted phone footage, and chases through golf club locker rooms. Borough are incandescent. They feel their tactical privacy was violated 48 hours before the first leg. Southampton are bunkered down, facing EFL charges that could, in the most extreme scenario, lead to expulsion from this very competition. If you're Tonda Eckert, how do you keep your players focused amid the cheating chants? And if you're Kim Hellberg, how do you ensure that your players' anger is channeled into the press and the tackle rather than frustration at the officials? It's a psychological tightrope. And then there is the Hull City factor. The Tigers were clinical at the Den last night, dispatching Millwall 2-0. Whoever wins tonight knows exactly who is waiting for them in the capital. There are no secrets left, including the team sheets they're in, and the managers have shown two very different hands. Let's start with the visitors. Just 3 days on from that bruising first leg, Kim Hellberg has opted for continuity. Borough are unchanged. A massive show of faith in the 11 that dominated the XG battle at the Riverside. However, the news that Borough fans were dreading has been confirmed. No Hayden Hackney. There was a slim hope their star midfielder could potentially be available tonight, but he hasn't made the squad. Without him, the creative burden shifts further forward. It's now down to the likes of Morgan Whittaker and Tommy Conway to find that bit of magic in the final third. But if Hellberg is preaching stability, Tonda Eckert is embracing evolution. He's made 3 huge changes to his Southampton side. Out go Flynn Downs, Tom Fellows and Kyle Larin. In their place, we see the steel of Shea Charles in midfield, the energy of January signing Kuryu Matsuki out wide, and the man for the big occasion, the Scotland international Ross Stewart leading the line. It's a bold roll of the dice from Eckert, opting for the physical presence of Stewart to unsettle a Borough back 3 that stood tall on Saturday. So to recap those teams in full for you, for Southampton, Peretz in goal, a back 4 of Bree, Wood, Manning and Harwood-Bellis. A powerful midfield trio of Yanda, Azaz and Charles. Up front, Leo Scienza, and Kuryu Matsuki will support the focal point Ross Stewart. For Borough, Solomon Bryn starts between the posts. Malander, Britton, Fry and Luke Ayling form the defensive line. Target and Aidan Morris will hope to add some kind of thrust going forward. Morris in midfield alongside Riley McGree. Britton and Target, the two wing-backs. Whittaker and Tommy Conway sit just behind the Slovakian centre forward, the man leading the line, David Strelec. The history books tell us that a 0-0 second leg of the home side progresses nearly 70% of the time as they get underway in Southampton. But Borough are specialists in these stalemates. They've drawn their last two playoff away legs 0-0. They know how to suffer and they know how to strike when the nerves of the home crowd begin to fray. Southampton in red and white stripes, black shorts and white socks. Borough in their strange strip of navy blue tonight. It's more than a game here. It's a 46-game season boiled down into a single evening. It's about the millions of pounds in revenue, the prestige of the Premier League and the raw pride of two footballing heartlands, both of which have strutted their stuff in the top flight previously. One will leave here tonight with a date at Wembley. The other will face a long, quiet summer of what-ifs. The Spygate talk will not fade. It may just dim down a little for the 90, maybe 120, maybe even the penalty shootouts out we see tonight. There's 32,000 in full voice, including a significant portion of travelling Middlesbrough supporters. We will find out who has the nerve, who has the heart, and whose day it is for destiny. Southampton and Middlesbrough, the Championship playoff semi-final, second leg. It's a massive game. We saw last night Millwall hopes of a first ever stint in the Premier League dashed by a Hull City side that were clinical at the Den. Tonight, Borough have to do the same, win away and condemn Southampton to a successive season in the Championship. It's been 11 years since Borough have played in the playoff final. Their stint out of the top flight has been a prolonged one. Here's Adelson Malander at the heart of that back three for Middlesbrough this evening. Morris in midfield picks up the second ball. Whittaker with a layoff. Britton is felled just over the halfway line. It was Luke Ayling, in fact, the former Leeds United man, who was hacked down by Ross Stewart with the challenge. Left hand side now Tommy Conway, one of a few Scotland internationals represented this evening. Pass inside by Matt Target, former Villa man. That's a loose challenge in the penalty area. And he's gone down in the box as David Strelec. Referee waves play on. A reminder, there is no VAR in operation in the Championship playoffs, so we won't go back to that. Andy Madley, Premier League official, is the man with the whistle tonight. He's assisted by Nicholas Hopton and Craig Taylor, the two men with the flags on the touchlines. Down the right-hand side it goes. Here's Britton getting forward and maybe beating his man. Ryan Manning in the left-back position. He's recovered well there, the Republic of Ireland international Manning. Lovely left foot. 9 goals, 6 assists this season for Manning. He was part of the squad that got relegated from the Premier League. Quite a few in this Southampton side. Went down. Having a look at it, you know, we've just seen a replay of that challenge. It was Kuryu Matsuki. David Strelec was trying to make the most of a loose touch from the Japanese winger who was back doing his defensive duties. And you can see the argument for a Borough penalty there. There weren't too many complaints, though, from the Borough players as that's swung deep towards the back post, nodded back across the face of goal by Dial Fry, the Borough captain. Ayling back into the mix and punched out from underneath the crossbar by Daniel Peretz. Here's Riley McGree, the Australian. Target, Aidan Morris of the United States of America. McGree, Target in a central position. Back to Luke Ayling. Ayling down the outside. Maybe another chance for Borough to get into the penalty area. It's a nice ball. Clever idea. And there's the opener. From the penalty spot, it's Riley McGree who tucks it into the bottom corner. Peretz left rooted to his spot, and Borough score the first goal of this playoff semi-final tie. They'll feel justice is done there. After all of the accusations, the spying controversy, it's a tidy, composed finish. 5 goals in the league this season, McGree just peels off his man. Shea Charles, a little bit hesitant to get out to him, doesn't quite notice the movement. The ball came in from the right-hand side from Callum Britton. And Daniel Peretz is hopelessly out of position. It's between the legs of Charles as well. He won't have seen it until very late, Peretz. It's Southampton 0, Middlesbrough 1 at St Mary's after a little less than 5 minutes. A reserved celebration from Kim Hellberg, 2 fists thrust in the air as he turns back to his bench, very early to score. But Borough have started really brightly here. They look motivated. Conway, Target, edge of the penalty area, McGree, laid off to Morris. His Target again, high ball towards the back post. Will they keep it in play? They will. Well, no, they won't actually. It was Morgan Whittaker at the back post. Borough's top scorer this season with 14. He thought he managed to hook it back across the face, but it was straight into the gloves of Peretz, who spotted up the goal kick quickly. Southampton have barely laid a foot on the ball since the kick-off. His Target on the left-hand side. Infield to Morris. Nice turn away from Casper Yander. And now he's running into vacant space on the edge of the Southampton box. The effort came in from Morgan Whittaker. A deflection up and away off Ryan Manning. And eventually scrambled out of play on the near side for a Southampton throw-in. Well, we knew this one would be very hard fought. Nobody really saw this coming. There were no goals in the first half last night at the Den. Before Mohamed Belloumi and then Joe Gelhardt scored the 2 goals that took Hull City to Wembley. Here's Fry. Ayling. Getting forward again is Callum Britton here. Out on the right-hand side. Has support alongside him in the form of Whittaker. Went early towards Strelets. Second ball picked off in midfield by Aidan Morris. Ayling. Down the right-hand side for Whittaker. Looking to step in field onto that left foot. Tries to slide it round the corner for McGree to run onto. Forced Nathan Wood to act. Shea Charles, in fact, dropping back. So that to get it away to the halfway line. There's Dale Fry again. Target. Conway. Determined run in field. Nice footwork as well. First to drive past Bury and then evade Casper Yander in the middle of the park. But here comes Southampton with their first foray forward. Leo Cienza gives it away. Here's Ayling thundering through the middle. McGree. Whittaker right-hand side. His heels on the touchline out there. Laid off to Callum Britton. Adelson Malanda, the 24-year-old Frenchman, keeps it moving. It's Conway. Back to Target. Dale Fry for Ayling. Fry again. Target. A little shove there on Tommy Conway. There was from James Bree. It's a long old season in the Championship. Just to put it into context, Finn Azaz and Ryan Manning have played 45 times across the course of the campaign for Southampton. That's more than anyone other than Luke Ayling and Tommy Conway, of course, with 48 appearances. He's been an ever-present for them. You often hear the big clubs, the Premier League giants, complaining about fixture congestion at the top, having to play in the League Cup, the Carabao Cup as you might know it, the FA Cup, and even Europe. Here's Whittaker bursting into the penalty area. Nice footwork again. Whittaker tried to sneak it in at the near post, into the side netting. The fixture congestion is just as bad in these EFL leagues, if not worse, you know. Also playing the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. They've got other competitions as well, lower in the leagues. And with 24 teams in the Championship, that's a 46-game season, as we've already mentioned. There's going to be some very tired legs out there. They say for the fans, the playoffs is the best way to go up. You get your day out at Wembley amidst 40-odd thousand of your best of mates. But for managers, for teams, for the club hierarchy, they'd much prefer to go up automatically. The likes of Coventry and Ipswich Town are already planning for life in the Premier League, already discussing signings, working out budgets. For the last team to join them, they're still going to have to wait a few more weeks. They'll be slightly more on the back foot ahead of the start of the Premier League season in August. All that to seal as well in England's top flight. Plenty of games coming, including Manchester City taking on Crystal Palace in what is a massive game at the top of the Premier League. Here comes Ryan Manning flying forward to Southampton down this left-hand side. Manning across the face of goal. Great chance for Stewart, but he's put it wide. That's what he's there for, Ross Stewart. His big frame to stretch and get on the end of another brilliant cross from Ryan Manning. That's his stock and trade. He's been at it all season, Manning. He's trying just to play that back from where it came from. In a way, he's got too much on it, you know. It's off his heel. Just needs to guide that past Solomon Bryn. It's Southampton's first chance, and what a chance it is. Stewart can't believe it. Ball downfield, a wrestling match with Tommy Conway and James Bree there. Shea Charles was caught late by Riley McGree. Andy Madley's reached into his pocket. Looks like he's going to produce the yellow card. He will for the Australian, the goal scorer. That's a sore one for Shea Charles. The ball had gone as McGree's boot arrived on the inside of his ankle. Harwood Bellis. Flipped away by Wood. Towards halfway. Cienza. Azaz, former Borough man, he started the season with Middlesbrough. Scored against Norwich for Borough back on the 23rd. Here he is again on the edge of the Middlesbrough box, looking to find some space and a through ball. Better from Southampton here. Here's Cienza, left-hand side, darts past his man Cienza towards the back post. And it was Kuryu Matsuki who tried to stretch, launching himself from next to the penalty spot. Looked like Shea Charles had made the run round the back and it might have been better placed, you know, to get on the end of it. But Southampton have the throw in. And it's a good response to going behind from the Saints. As I say that, Ryan Manning tosses a long ball forward. It just bounces over the byline and out of play for a goal kick. It's under Eckert, keeping a low profile at the moment, staying in his technical area. He's given Southampton fans some wonderful memories already this season. A balloon drifting down from the stands onto the pitch, and Shea Charles unceremoniously just steps on one to make sure that's not going to get confused. We've seen it before, haven't we? St Mary's rises. Stand up if you love the Saints is the song. They're a bit shell-shocked after watching McGree's effort. Nestled in the back of the net. The through ball towards McGree. Flag will go up on the far side. He was just spotted a little bit late there by it was Morgan Whittaker. Pretty clear offside as well. To his credit, Daniel Peretz was rapidly off his line to clear the danger. Nathan Wood. Harwood Bellis. Clearing header from Dale Fry. Azaz just outside the centre circle. Now Yander. So Nathan Wood. Looking for Cienza, one of the danger men for Southampton tonight. A couple of little subplots we've already mentioned for Azaz. Matt Targett as well. Who was a Southampton Academy product. Created 4 chances from open play in the first leg, the most of any player in both of the first semi-final ties, and only Jaja Silva has created more chances from open play than Matt Targett amongst all Championship defenders this season. At the ripe old age of 30, Targett. They've given that away on the edge of their own penalty area, Borough. Morris, a little bit too casual with the ball at his feet. Casper Yander it was that nipped it away from him, but the passing wasn't the best, and now it's Borough that get away down the right-hand side. Just a reminder of the circumstances for Aidan Morris there. Tried to shield the ball and just lost his footing. There was a hand-up and apology immediately from the American. It's Conway. And off to Fry. Fry finds McGree. They give and go with Tommy Conway. Here is Riley McGree. Strelets. Right-hand side of the penalty area. And it's Kuryu Matsuki who breaks it up for Southampton. David Strelets. In the club from Slovan Bratislava at the start of September. 8 goals from 34 appearances in the Championship this season. Last goal 10 days ago against Wrexham. 2 back goals after scoring against Watford as well. Southampton on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Casper Yander, inside right channel. Out to the right-hand side for James Bree getting forward from right back. Linking up with Yander, back to Bree. Now Shea Charles, scorer of that winning goal against Arsenal in the FA Cup quarter-finals a few weeks ago. Manning, Wood, Harwood Bellis. Well, Manchester City man himself, a few who have departed City without really making an impact on the first team. Taylor Harwood Bellis, the Southampton captain these days. He's at all the youth ranks at England level and is very highly rated. This Kuryu Matsuki, right-hand side. Tries to get to the byline, followed by McGree. Low cross to the edge of the 6-yard box. Target was in the way. Here's Tommy Conway. Fry. Kuryu Matsuki absolutely flung himself in the way of that one as Tommy Conway tried to get across. Southampton quickly take the throw in. Yanda keeps it moving. Wood from the centre circle, back to the German. Laid off by Stewart. Linked up with Azaz. Here's Shea Charles, right of centre. Harwood-Bellis. Cienza. It's Britain in the way. Cienza into the penalty area. And that's calm defending from Matt Target. He just nods it back to his goalkeeper, Sol Bryn. They really struggle for momentum coming into the playoffs. Middlesbrough. Results haven't really been going their way over the past few weeks. The last win in the Championship was on final 2 days of the season against Watford, and then Sheffield Wednesday back-to-back. But prior to that, you'd have to go back to the start of March. They beat Queen's Park Rangers by 4-0 at Loftus Road. To the left-hand side, Manning takes it down, pokes it into the penalty area. Matsuki tried to take it with him. A little look at Andy Madley, who just shakes his head. No penalty, says the referee. Strong play from Aidan Morris. Manning was just using the outside of his left boot there, found Matsuki. Morris just stepped across his path, and on the evidence of the replay, he's made the right decision there, the ref. Asked the question, did Matsuki. Fairly certain he was confident the answer was always going to be no. Away by Breen. Chested down by Strelets. But fairly tussling with Kasper Yanda. Southampton's free kick inside their own half of the pitch. One that Ryan Manning will take backwards to Wood. And now Harwood-Bellis. Shea Charles is just adding to the numbers in the back line at the moment. He's in possession of all. Southampton seem to be just switching into a 3-5-2 formation just to match up Middlesbrough. There's Wood. Yanda. Good Charles. It's away. This is away from Tommy Conway. He was a little bit of space inside the Southampton half there. Wasn't much more than a clearance from the Borough defence. And now Manning gives it away. It's clumsy on Morgan Whittaker by Kuryu Matsuki. He's on loan from Oyster Bay. In the first half of the season, I should say, in Turkey. He scored 2 goals in 28 appearances. He's been better since returning to Saints. Borough with only 2 wins in the last 10. Real collapse at the end of the season. They dropped from 2nd to 5th. Well, they have been the best away side in the league. Unbeaten in the last 6 on the road. 4 of those have been draws. The last 3, 2 apiece. Got another set piece here though. That's in by Britain towards the back post. It was Del Fry, but Harwood-Bellis was with him. So let's have a play on the near side for the Borough throw-in. It's Target jogging across to take it. into Adelson Malanda. Gets it back off Luke Ayling. Now Target. Conway. Malanda. Ayling. McGree. Target. Forward to Conway. McGree. Conway. Britton on the right hand side. Whittaker. Britton. Back to Conway. Edge of the box. Left footed effort. And it's blocked behind by Nathan Wood. Just started to accelerate there, Middlesbrough, on the edge of the Southampton penalty area. Just wouldn't quite settle for Conway in time. That allowed Wood to get tight to it. In towards the near post, flicked on. And scooped back in from the left-hand side by Target. Handed away by Yander. Drops here to Whittaker. Britton to Ayling. Right flank here, Luke Ayling. McGree. Here's Morgan Whittaker. Drifting into an ever more central position from that right-hand side. Target. Britton. Lines one up! And it's gobbled up by the goalkeeper, Daniel Peretz. It was too close to him in the end. The moment he touches out of his feet here, Callum Britton, you sense that he was going to try and go for goal himself. Caught it all right. Just couldn't really direct it either side of the goalkeeper. Azaz. Bree. That's inside to Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Left-hand side now is Ryan Manning. Scienza. It's a clumsy challenge by Ayling. One that will earn Southampton a free kick in a dangerous position on that left-hand side. Came rattling out towards him, Luke Ayling. We saw one as well, just jarred the knee of Leo Scienza. "17 goal involvements for Scienza this season, 10 of them assists." He's still down, and the Southampton medical team are out, just checking on him. Do you have to feel for the Southampton players here, because it wasn't their fault that a Southampton performance analyst was caught at Rockcliffe Park. They're having to deal with all the fallout as well. Even if they are to go through to the playoff final, there is a little bit of a doubt as to whether they will be able to compete against Hull at Wembley. Treatment goes on for Scienza. It is a rather unique ground as well, Middlesbrough's training park. It's at Rockcliffe Park, which is a public luxury hotel and golf resort owned by the Middlesbrough owner Steve Gibson. Sources say that a Southampton analyst stood on a public hill overlooking the pitches and live streamed a tactical session via mobile while wearing in-ear headphones. Borough staff approached the individual. He refused to identify himself. He deleted content from his phone. Apparently fled into the golf course, where he reportedly changed his clothes in the toilet to evade staff. All sounds like a far-fetched soap opera storyline. Middlesbrough's club photographer took some high-res photos of the individual, which matched to a staff profile on the official Southampton website. He's in breach of EFL Rule 127, which was introduced after the 29 Leeds Derby incident in 2019. There was a similar issue. Unlike 2019, the rules are now explicit, means that Southampton could be vulnerable to points deductions or expulsion. Southampton today, just before the match, have asked for a little bit more time in their investigations to help try and comply with the EFL's own look into the incident. So it will be Ryan Manning on the left-hand side. Scienza's back on his feet, just off the pitch temporarily. Manning's balling towards the near post. It was aimed at Harwood-Bellis. That's brave defending from Dale Fry. Yander to Shea Charles. Yander again. He's back in his own half of the pitch though, Casper Yander. And looks a little bit devoid of ideas about how to get this one forward. Wood is now joining him, as is Harwood Bellis, trotting back from his position from that free kick. Wood. Taylor Harwood Bellis. So Ross Stewart who came to show for it. Zaz dispossessed by Target. And now here's Tommy Conway. Target to his left. Will find Matt Target. Low ball, blocked at source by Shea Charles. Southampton claim offside. Andy Madley points to the corner flag. Cienza is hobbling around out there. He's trying to persevere. He'll be desperate to stay involved in the game. Not moving particularly comfortably at the moment, and Andy Madley will just have a little word with him, Leo Cienza. Morgan Whittaker's going to take the corner kick. He's got Tommy Conway close to him if he wants to play it short. This one will go into the penalty area. The outswinger towards the 6-yard line. Drops to Britton from a long way out. Oh, a little improvised finish from Dale Fry, and that's a sensational save from Daniel Peretz, who had to adjust. The flag's gone up on the far side, I believe. He looked offside as they were all coming out of that penalty area following the corner. Now to play on though, Southampton. They've taken a bit of control of the game, Southampton, over the past 20 minutes or so. But you'd say it's when Borough get forward that they look the more threatening of the two sides. Charles. Maybe they make me eat my words here. Azaz, Bree, Stewart goes down under a bit of pressure. Aidan Morris it is that wins it, carries it away. And he finds Matt Target. Tommy Conway now has space on the left-hand side. End-to-end stuff already at St Mary's. Gets past Casper Yander like he wasn't there. Conway into the penalty area. Tries the pullback. He was tracked by Charles. It's off his shins. Into the goalkeeper's gloves. And Southampton pointing in the right direction again here with Finis Az. Casper Yander. Matsuki. For Ryan Manning out on the left. Via Matsuki. To Cienza. Still not moving all that comfortably, but moving the ball along okay. Harwood Bellis. Matsuki between the lines. Morris getting in his way. That's laid off to Wood. Manning. Matsuki. Manning. Can't squeeze that one past Luke Ayling. Oh, lofts up in the air, and that's a shove on Dale Fry, the Borough captain. Nice shake of the head from Leo Cienza. Just have a little look at Ross Stewart. You can see why they claimed a penalty there. It's Ayling that got in the way, and then as Ross Stewart tried to adjust to get on the end of the ball, there was a little tug from Callum Britton, who had his hand round the collar of the Scotland international. It's one that you might say would be given by VAR if they had it in use here at St Mary's this evening. The EFL clubs, the Championship clubs, all voted earlier this season not to introduce it into the lower leagues. It does come at a significant cost to the clubs. They have to install a significant number of cameras, and the EFL organisation itself would have to then start to figure out how to implement it. It's a bit of an adjustment for teams coming up, though. Oh, these two sides may well have to contend with, well, controversy. Not what we like to refer to it as, VAR. It's not really anyone's favourite element of football these days, is it? Andy Madley waving Luke Ayling a good 20 yards further back down the touchline. In comes the throw in. Strelets with the old chest, looking for Whittaker. Southampton pick it off on the edge of their own penalty area. There's Stewart. Matsuki. Only to McGree. And that's behind David Strelets. Away by Manning. Zaz picks up the loose ball out on that left-hand side. That's sharp work by Aidan Morris. Borough get the throw, much to Leo Cienza's frustration. Luke Ayling is out there to take it again for Middlesbrough. Down the line towards David Strelets. Seems to be in charge of all of these throw-ins. Luke Ayling. Approaching his 100th appearance for Middlesbrough since making the switch from Leeds back in 2024. He's actually an Arsenal Academy graduate. Got his teeth at Yeovil and then Bristol City before joining Leeds United back in 2016. Played almost 270 times for Leeds and was their club captain for a long time, including featuring in the Premier League. Yellow card brandished there by Andy Madley. That was shown to Nathan Wood. The booking was for the Southampton centre-back. McGree bounces away off of Charles and looks at Andy Madley, who gives Borough the advantage, but it's gone backwards and Ayling had to adjust quickly. Belanda, neat footwork, and he'll dance away from the challenges, and Morris takes over here. Kasper Yander with the tackle to win it back for Southampton. A little bit scrappy there for a moment. Cienza tries to spin away from Luke Ayling. Sticks with Leo Cienza. Eventually he's pulled back for the foul. And Andy Madley started to look a little bit frustrated here, you know. Middlesbrough are not happy about something. And Luke Ayling's just reporting this to Andy Madley. He's going to be shown the yellow card, the Middlesbrough defender. He'll take it graciously, Luke Ayling, but he wants to point out that something else has happened here. Andy Madley just trying to sort all this out here as we approach the 40th minute. Andy Madley's just going to wander across to the sideline and have a word with Tom Neild, the fourth official. I know it tends to happen. He's actually brought over the two managers as well. And the suggestion of this tends to be that something untoward has been said, whether it falls foul of decency, and Ton de Rekker isn't happy about something, and suddenly, wow, it's all getting a bit feisty between the two managers. And Kim Hellberg wasn't pleased with Ton de Rekker's response to that. The Borough bench starting to come to Kim Hellberg's aid there. I think it might be Shay Charles, you know. Whatever it is, it's required the attention and the care of Andy Madley. Certainly a foul by Luke Ayling. He walked away. Had a word with Taylor Harwood-Bellis. And then it seems to have been something said by Harwood-Bellis that Luke Ayling has wandered back to the referee to pass on, or at least report on. The referee's had to, just to recap all of this, go and speak to the fourth official, then bring over the two managers. As if this game needed anything else. Still, Luke Ayling in quote-unquote discussions, shall we say, with Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Well, we're going to go back to the free kick. Ryan Manning, left of centre, 35 yards from goal. And a few to aim for in the penalty area, including Taylor Harwood-Bellis. It is towards Harwood-Bellis, and it's over the crossbar in the end. Close to the Southampton captain. And I think it was over the bar by Luke Ayling, who was marking him there. It's good work from Luke Ayling, you know. Off his knee. And behind for a corner. Cienza with the outswinger to the edge of the box. Drilled back towards goal. Keeper spilled it only temporarily. He'll hang on to it now, Solbrin. This one has been simmering under the surface all week. Peretz has to put that out of play for a Borough throw-in inside Southampton territory with Matt Targett forward. We've got around 2.5 minutes of the 45 remaining. There'll be plenty added on at the end of this first half. We'll try and clear up what's happened in that incident during the break and bring you news of it when we do return after the half-time interval. But it's been an engrossing watch so far, that much we can tell you. Malanda, cross with Cienza. And Whittaker getting back. Was he fouled by Leo Cienza? Yes, he was. Well, they're getting a bit frustrated here, the Southampton fans. Felt that Luke Ayling had fouled Ross Stewart in the middle of the park in the build-up to that move. Malanda needed the assistance of Morgan Whittaker. We've got a toe to the ball. It's a soft foul, yes, but a foul that is. Still limping around out there, Leo Cienza. Bryn. And that one straight out of play inside Southampton's half of the pitch. Ryan Manning has the ball in his hands already. Long into Borough territory. High bouncing ball, an awkward one for Dale Fry. Suki. And Morris can't keep it in play. Ryan Manning will take the throw, and we're about to find out how much time's going to be added on at the end of this first half. Coming together with Cienza and Callum Britton, who can't believe the referee's blown the whistle. That'll be a free kick right on the left edge of the penalty area. he didn't even try and play the ball, wasn't even looking at it. Callum Britton. Andy Madley. Southampton a free kick. Right. All eyes around St Mary's now on Tom Neild. As we move into 6 minutes of added time at the end of an incident-strewn first half. Very difficult one to defend against. James Bree will take the free kick from a stride or so away from the byline and the edge of the penalty area. There are two lurking on the edge of the box. McGree's spotted both of them. It's Bree towards the back post. A volley from Manning, and it's into the back of the net. In the follow-up by Ross Stewart. It was scooped to the back post. Ryan Manning with a volleyed effort, which I think Sol Bryn has got fingertips to. Middlesbrough couldn't deal with the second ball, and Ross Stewart it is who just bundles it home. It's brilliant saves, a brilliant save initially by Sol Bryn. And they've just got an overload on that back post. Stewart rising with Taylor Harwood-Bellis. And nothing Borough can do to prevent that from going in the back of the net. Tonder Ecker. Well, that is not a reserved celebration. He is fired up, as is Ross Stewart. Southampton back on level terms. And a real edge to this game. Away by Britton. Stewart in the way there. Here's Cienza, left-hand side, back onto his right, twisting and turning, gets away from Callum Britton, gets the ball into the penalty area. Ayling with the header away. There's Manning, Yander, Cienza, Azaz, laid off to Shea Charles. Shoot, cries the St Mary's crowd. He obliges it straight at Malanda. And they'll get it away here, Borough. Target. Into the channel. Strelets. Held up by Wood. Just waiting for the support to arrive. David Strelets has done well. Finds target. McGree. Ayling. Callum Britton on the right-hand side. Back to halfway for Dale Fry. Aidan Morris. Luke Ayling. Fry. Towards Tommy Conway. Awkward header. And James Bree. Conway just leant into him, but Andy Madley not happy with the challenge. Well, Daniel Perez has gone down. He came running out to meet Tommy Conway, who had the ball tucked under his arm. He's bumped into the back of him. Tommy Conway has responded by the ball breaking loose to try and grab at it. The arm has gone out and has caught Daniel Perez in the face. He's taken a moment to realise what's just happened, flung himself to the floor. I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing, I have to say, from the goalkeeper. Andy Madley not convinced either. Perez with the long ball forward. There's Target with the clearance to Borough. Bounces away from Strelets. Now Charles. Azaz. Back to Harwood-Bellis. Wood. Manning. Forward to the corner of the box, Cienza with the turn, drops the shoulder. Ayling, has he prevented that from going out of play? He hasn't. That'll be a corner. Good spot by the referee. Luke Ayling has put himself right in the middle of this game. It's the last minute of added time here. 30 seconds left to play. Of the 6 added on. Bodies tumbling in the penalty area. They're wrestling in there. This time Stewart in a tangle with Strelets. Madly with a stern word for both of them. We'll finish this first half with the corner. Cienza whips it in there, punched away, pushed away really by Solbrin. Hacked clear. Kasper Yander on halfway. Finds Daniel Peretz. High ball, out of play. That's a very good header from that fan, who relishes the crowd's cheers who are around him, which is a bit of a moment of comic relief as the referee blows the half-time whistle in a game that has been very, very serious indeed. Spying allegations prior to the game set this up as a bit of a Cold War thriller, a Cold War that has certainly heated up. The scoring opened after just 5 minutes by Riley McGree with a tidy finish. As Middlesbrough started brightly, Southampton took a little bit of time to find their feet in the game, but they did, and did ever so well in the end. There's been flashpoints aplenty. Luke Ayling not happy with something that seems to have been said by Taylor Harwood-Bellis. We'll try and piece together what's been going on there. But the more important thing is Ross Stewart, it is, who bundled home in added time at the end of the first half to make it all square at the break. At half-time in this EFL Championship semi-final second leg, in a game you cannot take your eyes off of. It's Southampton 1, Borough 1. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly with the second half live. Welcome back to St Mary's, where it's a goal apiece after a first half that was full of incident. The scoring opened by the Australian Riley McGree for Borough after just 5 minutes. Southampton shell-shocked, and with the Spygate scandal hanging over this game, there was always a bit of an edge to it, an edge that got a bit feistier as Luke Ayling was upset by something uttered to him by the Southampton captain Taylor Harwood-Bellis in the aftermath of a Luke Ayling yellow card. Now, we're not sure what was said, what happened, but what was clear was the referee Andy Madley had to walk across to the touchline, report the accusations to the fourth official, as well as both managers, and reaction from Tom Eckert was one of a little bit of frustration, shall we say. He almost shoved Kim Hellberg, and the two managers had to be separated for a moment, so this one has gone from bubbling under the surface to threatening to boil over. Anyway, Ross Stewart it was with the equaliser for Southampton. Just in stoppage time at the end of that first half, the initial effort from Ryan Manning, really nicely saved by Sol Bryn, but they weren't able to deal with Ross Stewart and a number of Southampton players bundling at the back post and forcing it over the line. They're back underway on the south coast now, and anyone's game from this point on. No changes at the break. Leo Cienza, we thought, might go off. He's back out there, still not moving all that well, but Southampton will try and find him. A ball from the right-hand side. A hand-up and apology, though, from James Bree. That one overhit, and he's still hobbling around. Leo Cienza, a little shake of the head too. Well, running through the lineups as they stand, because I'm sure they're about to change. Daniel Peretz in goal for Southampton, James Bree at right back, Ryan Manning on the left-hand side of the defence, Taylor Harwood-Bellis the captain alongside Nathan Wood at centre-back, Shea Charles and Casper Yander the two holding midfielders, Kuryu Matsuki, Leo Cienza either side of Finn Azaz, and Ross Stewart with a goal leads the line for the Saints. Sol Bryn in goal for the Middlesbrough, who play with a back five tonight. Addisland, Malanda, Dale Fry and Luke Ayling, the three centre-backs, Targett and Callum Britton, the wing-backs, Riley McGree and Aidan Morris in the middle of the park, Tommy Conway and Morgan Whittaker offering support to the Slovakian David Strelec, who leads the line. And it looks to me like Tom Eckert needs to take the decision out of Leo Cienza's hands here. Well, that's a lunging challenge on Tommy Conway. Came flying in there, Taylor Harwood-Bellis. He says he won the ball. Andy Madley disagrees. Borough have the free kick. He's right in the centre of the controversy here, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, following that comment to Luke Ayling that sparks that little fracas between the two managers. And now just having a little quiet word with Andy Madley. Set piece from just inside the Southampton half. It's Callum Britton who's taken most of Borough's set pieces tonight, who will lift one towards the left-hand side of the Southampton box. Towering header away by Wood. Targett chasing back towards the halfway line. In possession for Borough. Cienza in front of him. Targett down the left-hand side, wrestling with Nathan Wood, was Dale Fry. And that's had a play on the far side for a Southampton throw-in. It was Callum Britton who set it up for Riley McGree to open the scoring. It was also Callum Britton who conceded the free kick. From which Southampton scored a free kick where there was a lot of tugging in the penalty area. Aidan Morris in particular looked like he was dragged down by his neck by a Southampton player. It was shoving on the goal line as Ross Stewart rose highest to nod it home. If you are only just joining us, we've said it a few times tonight, there is no VAR, even in the playoffs in the Championship. If there was, well, we might have seen a few red cards tonight. This target, left-hand side for Borough. That's a shove from Shea Charles on Riley McGree. It will be a free kick. Looks like it'll be that target to spot it up for Middlesbrough. There's a bit of movement on the Southampton bench. It looks like they are preparing a change. And you can only suspect this is going to be for Leo Cienza, but Target will get his ball into the penalty area. Is that a handball? Riley McGree stopped playing. That's how convinced he was. Well, Borough will have a little word with the referee. Andy Madley points to his shoulder. He says it's close, but it's not a handball. Bounced up. That's definitely a handball. Bounced up and hit Matsuki. His left arm is outstretched. He's almost slapped it away. Then clasped his hand to his chest, and Andy Madley seems to have been convinced by the framing. I'm not so sure about that, Andy Madley. Here's Wood. Left of centre for Southampton. Kasper Yander. Harwood Bellis with the long ball down the left-hand side. Flicks off the back of the head of Callum Britton. Will drop to Ryan Manning here. There's the cross low into the penalty area. And it's straight at Sol Bryn, who gobbles it up in front of the near post. With Ross Stewart lurking. Malander for Morris. A little bit of space for the American at the moment. Target down the left-hand side to find Tommy Conway. Back to Adelson Malander. Now Dale Fry. Whittaker. Back to Fry. Out to the right-hand side for Callum Britton. Matsuki. Pokes it free. Cienza, left-hand side. Real test of his fitness now. Drifting into a central position. Will lay it off to Taylor Harwood Bellis. Now Shea Charles. Down the outside. Bree. Wood. Yander. It was meant for Manning. Cienza took it over on the edge of the penalty area. Now it's with Manning and it's against Britain. And that'll be a corner for Southampton. It's Leo Cienza who's going to take the set piece. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to continue here, but he's managed almost 10 minutes of his second half, still hobbling around. Cienza's in swinger. Stewart on the 6-yard line can only flick it on. And it's lifted away by Matt Targett for a throw-in out on that right-hand side. James Bree is going to take the throw-in for Southampton. Much better start to the second half than they had from the first. Here's Nathan Wood in the centre circle. Now Manning. Cienza. Manning. Wood. Rifles one right into the heart of the midfield. That's a nice little layoff by Stewart. Now Cienza. Manning on the overlap. Cienza with the ball in. Away by Dale Fry again. Harwood Bellis. Clips it out to Cienza on the left-hand side. Whittaker with him. Cienza throws himself to the ground at the slightest of contact. Andy Madley not impressed. Ayling forward. Bounces away from Whittaker. Here is Ryan Manning. That goes infield to Shea Charles. Charles for Azaz. Laid off to Harwood Bellis. To his left now for Nathan Wood. Wood forward. That's picked off. Good read by Callum Britton. McGree. Britton. Back to McGree in the centre circle. Target has space down the left. Slide challenge came in from Finn Azaz. And Andy Madley sees fit to blow the whistle. It's caught a big chunk of Matt Target there as Azaz, and that'll be a yellow card. For the former Borough man. Absolutely threw himself into the challenge to Azaz. I think that's what's caught the eye really more than anything. He might have got a bit of the ball, but plenty of target as well. Who's back on his feet and okay to take the resulting set piece. Target right into the 6-yard box. It was too high for Strelets. Matsuki, I think, has caught one on the way down, just holding on to the back of his left calf. Dale Fry is in there as well, trying to stretch out something. I'll have a little look at what happened. There's a decent ball by Target. Strelets, I think, has just got caught under the flight of it. A bit of a coming together with Fry on the way down for Kuryu Matsuki. Callum Britton will take the throw-in from the near side for Borough. Britton, long throw towards the near post. Ayling was there. Too much contact on the header. It was free. I think the idea was to try and flick it on. It was Borough. I don't think they're going to make the first change. It's Alan Brown, the Republic of Ireland international, on loan from Sunderland, who looks like he's going to be coming on shortly. Shea Charles down the left-hand side. There's Dale Fry in the way. Corner kick, the result for Southampton, who found a new gear here in the second half, approaching the hour mark. Nathan Wood, Taylor Harwood Bellis wandering downfield to join the fray in the 18-yard box. Cienza lasted longer than I thought he would. Underneath the crossbar, pushed away by the goalkeeper. Acrobatic attempt from Ryan Manning. Body's in the way though. And Sol Bryn has to pick himself out of the box. The goal, I should say. Manning, almost snuck it in. Sol Bryn. I don't think he was expecting that. Well, there was a big deflection off of Ayling's heel, actually, which carried it onto the outside of the post and made it all the more awkward for Sol Bryn. Momentum against Borough at the moment. It's all with Southampton. Cienza. Malanda's header goes behind for another corner. There goes Cienza. Spots it up. This time Malanda will get it away to the edge of the box. Charles with the strike on the half volley. Bounces off of Borough's shirts. Whittaker tries to move it, but he's done it too quickly there. More haste, less speed required from the Borough number 11, because Southampton have it back. It's with Daniel Peretz. They've absolutely dominated possession in this second half, Southampton. As we hit the hour mark on England's south coast. Harwood-Bellis. Scooped up to Matsuki. Now here is Ryan Manning. Lays it off to Kasper Yander. Wood. Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Tried to fit it out towards that far side. It was Matt Targett underneath it for Borough. McCree tussling with Azaz. They'll squeeze it down the touchline, looking for James Bree. But that'll bounce away from the Southampton fullback. Another play for a Borough throw-in. 60 gone, Kim Hellberg. Pacing nervously in his technical area. It's lofted away, but bounces off Charles, drops to Whittaker. Riley McGree, the Borough goal scorer. Target. Morris. Fry. Adelson Malanda. To Dale Fry. Here's Whittaker in the centre circle. Moves it on to Britton. Uses the outside of his boot to find a pass inside to Strelets. The back heel will find Aidan Morris. Now here's Britton. Whittaker. McGree will run onto the first time ball from David Strelets. Here's Whittaker on the right hand side. Won't squeeze it past Ryan Manning. Read what he was trying to do with it there. Cienza's header just too far behind Stewart. It's Malanda with it for Borough. Target. Conway inching his way into the penalty area. Pulls it back to the corner of the box for Target. Now here's Malanda. Look to put it between the legs of Matsuki. Ailing. And for the spectacular effort for range. Here is Target. Wins it back. Strelets. Through the legs of Yander. Strelets laid off to Morris. Morris for McGree. McGree for Morris. Morris for Britton. Britton's cross towards the back post. Bree flicks it away. Conway keeps it in play on the left-hand side. Running now at James Bree, Tommy Conway. Looks to win the corner. Bree does well. Southampton get it forward again. Dale Fry got his hands full with Ross Stewart, who's won it. And here is Cienza, edge of the penalty area. Leo Cienza ran straight into Luke Ayling. Looks at the referee, wants a penalty. Andy Madley shakes his head. Leo Cienza can't believe it. Neither could Ross Stewart. As Luke Ayling lofts one forward. And this might be a decent ball. And that will be a free kick just outside the Southampton penalty area. James Bree, adjudged to have pulled him to the ground there. David Strelets. But we'll have a look at the other end where Cienza. Yeah, there's nothing in that for me. Luke Ayling has a little handout which does shove Cienza. He's made the most of it there, Leo Cienza. It's awkward looking from Luke Ayling, a little bit clumsy. And Tonda Ecker curses this guy. Who knows which way this one is going at the moment. A player that looked finished before half-time. Ever so close to winning Southampton a penalty. Instead it's down the other end. But it's Matt Targett assessing his options. A free kick towards the left-hand side. Within the width of the 18-yard box, though, 30 yards from goal. Target's ball towards the back post. No one was marking Fry. Tried to head it back across the face of goal. He will win the corner kick off Matsuki, but that could have been ever so worse for Southampton. It was Ryan Manning, I think, that was meant to be tracking him. Riley McGree didn't move on the edge of the penalty area. Manning ran straight into him. He almost worked as the blocker there, McGree. Corner comes in towards the back post. Wood away, back in there by Target. Bouncing out towards the far side. Morris following. Will be a throw-in. A change for Saints. Kuryu Matsuki, his night is over. And it's Flynn Downs who's going to come on. Offers a little bit more physicality in the middle of the park, does Downs. Matsuki's picked up a couple of knocks. He was very fortunate not to give away a penalty, you know. Comes Downs. First change of the evening for either side. Target's long throw aimed at Ayling. Stewart doing the defending. Azaz nodding it away. Here's Morris. Out on the left hand side. Plays it backwards. Britton. Ross Stewart thundering towards him. Solbrin. Hung out towards that left-hand side. James Bree can watch it bounce over the touchline for a Southampton throw-in. It's away by Downs. Hooks down the right-hand side. Malanda did well under pressure from Ross Stewart. Ayling's the ball forward though, bounces off of Morris and it's picked up by Charles, and now here comes Southampton again with Cienza to the left for Ryan Manning. Kicks a high ball towards the back post. Azaz didn't get off the ground. Target nods it away and it's carried clear by Riley McGree. Looks for a switch of play. A lovely pass that is to Morgan Whittaker here. Whittaker, Charles backing away. Whittaker into the penalty area. Onto his left, tries to curl it. Took a nick off Shea Charles on the way out of play. That'll be a free corner kick. Just put his hands on his head for a moment there, Morgan Whittaker. He's been looking for that option a few times tonight. And for the first time he could really get a sight of goal after stepping in from that right flank. Shea Charles looked nervous. It's off Wood in the end. Just lifts off of his shoulder. It'll be Whittaker to take from the opposite side towards the near post. Malanda was the target. Morris back to Whittaker on the left hand side. Downs, determined stuff. Cienza went straight into Malanda. That's to Flynn Downs. It's back with Whittaker. Deflected cross away by Charles. Taken down by Fry. Malanda again. Aidan Morris. Here's Adelson Malanda. Target. Malanda. Down the left for Target. Bit of space. And it's straight towards the goalkeeper. Clear shot from Daniel Perez, who plucks it out of the air. And we'll find Ryan Manning. Daniel Perez. Wood. Casper Yander. Just quietly goes about his business in the heart of the Saints midfield. Shea Charles It's back to Kasper Yanda. Harwood Bellis. Daniel Peretz. Way down the Southampton left, it's Callum Britton that wins the header for Borough. He's at the expense of a throw-in though. Kenazaz. Stewart finds Downs. Shea Charles back to Flynn Downs. Yanda. Azaz. Will it open up for him? Malanda in the way of the effort. 20 minutes to play. Leo Cienza retrieves the ball. There's a problem for Tommy Conway. He's sat down on the turf at the moment with his head in his shirt. The Middlesbrough medical team are out there, and he seems pretty resigned to this being the end of his night. And they've got a replacement lined up already. Alan Brown is just waiting to come on. I'm still surprised that Leo Cienza's still out there. Well, with 71 minutes gone, it's a good opportunity for both sets of players to come across, take on some fluids, and maybe some calming words of instruction from their respective managers. And the Saints go marching in, being sung with gusto by 30-odd thousand around this ground. Tommy Conway, well, he's not moving well, and this certainly will be the end of his evening and the start of the night for the Republic of Ireland international Alan Brown. Besides Sunderland promoted last year, what a season they've had. Conway needs a bit of assistance to get off the pitch as well. He's managed to do it off his own volition. On comes Alan Brown as Conway makes his way over the touchline. Here it's number 41 of the season. In by Manning to restart. Yanda. Wood. Harwood Bellis. Yanda. We'll get it back from Manning. Now Wood. Taylor Harwood Bellis. Peretz with the long clearance up towards Ross Stewart. It's marshalled well there by Dale Fry. Whittaker trying to apply some pressure to Harwood Bellis. Back with the goalkeeper though, Daniel Peretz. Here's Ryan Manning. Cienza. Still on the pitch, you know. Some going. Alan Brown, as we already mentioned, on as a substitute. For Tommy Conway. There's one goal as a substitute this season, back on the 4th of January. We've got no prizes for guessing who that was against. Yep, it was The fourth in a 4-0 victory against Saints. Maybe a good omen for Middlesbrough here. Here's Wood, Manning, Cienza, little drop of the shoulder. They'll get the touch off of Callum Britton. And that's behind for another corner. Rio Cienza spotting it up again. Wood, Harwood Bellis forward from the back. The set piece that got them back on level pegging. It's another set piece that almost opened up a chance there for Taylor Harwood Bellis. That's off the former City defender and over the crossbar for a Borough goal kick. Solbrin with a bank of Southampton supporters behind him. Oh, pass on when they think of his performance. It was a vociferous welcome tonight. The team bus arriving at the Ted Bates stand, surrounded by flares, engulfed in smoke and light. And then pre-match LED light show and tifo display in the Northumberland Chapel stands. A passionate fan base in these parts when they can be. Success has been fleeting over the past few seasons. They've relished every second of joy this year. The question for both of these two sides now is this the end of the season? Or is there one more game? There's 13 minutes left in which to find that out. It's in by Manning. Now to Wood. Wood for Downs. Harwood Bellis down the right hand side. Hoisted forward by Taylor Harwood Bellis. Cienza was always going to lose out to Callum Britton in that challenge. Malanda, well, he's lost out to Stewart, and the scissor movement. Probably knew that he was going to be pulled up for that one, and that's a free kick for Southampton. He was just out of position in the wrong side, caught Finazaz, and catches a yellow card as well for his troubles. Adelson Malanda. Organising themselves defensively. Southampton trying to turn this possession into a goal that would give them the lead. James Bree's not happy with the position of the wall. This is ball in though, flicked on by Stewart. Close enough to a teammate though, and it's out of play for another goal kick. We're just getting tense in here now. If he'd got out of the way of that, they might have dropped to Harwood Bellis, who was just over his shoulder and probably in a slightly better position. Adelson Malanda's fifth yellow card of the season, incidentally. Green with the clearance. Moves forward by Target. Now here's McGree. Morris. Ayling, edge of the box. Out to Target again. Brown. Luke Ayling. Tries to go on the outside. That's against Ross Stewart. And Borough have the throw in, level with the edge of the Southampton penalty area. Still just one change each as we move into the final 10 minutes of the 90. Matt Targett's not happy because Aidan Morris, in fact, the Southampton players refusing to get out of the way as he tries to take this throw in. They're all warming up down there and continuing to jog in front of him. Aidan Morris took exception and suddenly was surrounded by Southampton substitutes. That target, in fact, he wasn't giving the ball back with the ball boy. And Aidan Morris had a problem with that as well. And all the Southampton players came rushing to confront the American. There's probably slight main character energy from the ball boy there, as that's in by Matt Targett. Fry won it, and then Morris came flying into it. He felt it was tugged and went down in the penalty area. It's eventually away by Finn Downes, who draws the foul as well. Steve Gibson, the Borough owner, is in the expensive seats, and well, nothing he can do now. From clasp his hands together and hope it falls Borough's way. As it stands, though, we're heading for extra time. Britain forward. Strong challenge by Wood. Getting in front of Alan Brown. And David Strelets as well. And a change here for Middlesbrough. Whereas that is the last involvement of David Strelets. And he's going to be replaced by Leo Castledine. Morgan Whittaker, you imagine, will go out on his own up front now. The 20-year-old former Chelsea man, Leo Castledine, often introduced as a late sub. And two changes imminent as well for Southampton. I think one that we've been expecting for a while. Samuel Edozi's down there, as is Cameron Archer. Cienza back heel looking for Casper Yander. He's bounced off a balloon down there. And Morris will clear. Castledine quite good on the end of it. Over the touchline on the far side. Also, Southampton take the opportunity to make their changes. I'm not sure they will. Well, they would, in fact, and the fourth official has the board ready. It's the end of the evening for Ross Stewart. In fact, it's Kyle Larin, the Canadian international, is going to be coming on. And yes, it is Leo Cienza, who's made it all the way through to the 84th minute, despite hobbling around out there from midway through the first half, you know. It's a really brave performance from the Brazilian. He goes off to be replaced by Samuel Edozi, another Manchester City Academy product. Carl Larin on. He scored 3 goals from the bench. Last against Preston back at the start of the month. Eight in total all season. Zaz. Well, that's a poor challenge from Riley McGree, who's already been booked. Tired effort by the Australian to win that back. Less than 5 minutes remaining of normal time. Still nothing to separate these two sides. Bree. Across the face of goal. It's off a Borough head. Here was Malander. Flicked it away for a corner kick. It's got up in front of Flynn Downs. James Bree to take the in-swinger towards the back post, away by Matt Target. Here's Samuel Adozi. Back to halfway. Turn to the goalkeeper by Flynn Downs. It's long from Peretz. Wood has stayed forward. Now here's James Bree on the left-hand side. Downs. Yander. Finazaz. Inside left position. Wood. Downs. Casper Yander. Back to Harwood Bellis in the centre circle. Downs. Manning to Wood. Azaz. Charles. Want to chase down that right-hand side for Adozi. It's Ayling who gets his body across. Makes sure that goes behind for a goal kick. There are some nervous looks around this ground. On Southampton faces, on Borough faces, on fans and players alike. And we have just 2 minutes left to play. Probably safe to say a goal now would win the tie. Bryn. Long ball forward, Ayling. Pushes that to Brown. Malander had to get that right because Larin was lurking. And Fry hasn't quite got that right. Azaz, it's behind Downs. Aidan Morris there to sweep up for Middlesbrough. And he's taken down by Casper Yander. Free kick for Borough inside their own half of the pitch. Puff of the cheeks from Aidan Morris as he gets back to his feet. We're into the 90th minute now. It's a long route home for those Borough fans. A weekday night, and trains will be almost impossible. Some of them will be bundling their way onto coaches, whatever the result later on this evening, and it's a good 6-hour drive home from here. I'm sure a fair few will be staying over in Southampton this evening. But whatever happens, it's been one of those occasions that will live long in the memory. Will it be for good reasons or bad reasons? You never know. It's in Bryn's gloves. Oh, it's added time. All that separates us from extra time. Ayling gives it away. Yander. Larin pushed away by Sol Bryn. Such an important save that is. It all came from Luke Ayling, just trying to take on too many as he drove forward. Here's Peretz. Back by Britton to Bree. First time clearance. Whittaker just bounced off of him. Now with Ryan Manning. Lashed away by Harwood Bellis. Larin got in front of Dale Fry, who's holding his knee. He went to ground Kyle Larin. It's a huge moment in added time. He's not got a touch on the ball there, Dale Fry, but he certainly caught Kyle Larin, who's nipped it away in front of him and gone to ground. And Andy Madley says no foul. That looks an awkward one as well for Dale Fry's leg. Did seem to get trapped in the turf. There's been a couple of those moments tonight. Matsuki with a handball in the first half, which wasn't punished. Now Dale Fry will feel a lucky boy. Maybe not right now because he's in some pain here. Luke Ayling and Taylor Harwood Bellis, after their incident in the first half, referees just bringing them together to have a little word. And that's nice to see. An arm around the shoulder from Luke Ayling on Harwood Bellis. As Dale Fry still down. He's back on his feet, Fry. Looks like they're almost ready to continue. Oh, we're going to have to start again without their captain, albeit temporarily. We didn't quite catch how much added time there was at the end of this second half. In all competitions under Tondereckert, Southampton have only lost once at St Mary's. That was 2-1 to Hull back in January. They've won 13 of the other 18. It's been that sort of performance, that sort of record that's guided them from relegation candidates to on the precipice of a Premier League return. There's been a real spirit inside St Mary's tonight. But as the clock ticks down, still nothing to separate them. Bryn's goal kick sails into Southampton territory. Harwood Bellis finds Larin. Little up and under for a Dozy. Britton is there, not once but twice. Prods it forward. Carshall-Dean almost got on the end of it. Wood made sure he didn't. Charles, left-hand side. Strong challenge from Callum Britton. On Samuel Edozie, one that the referee sees fit to penalise. The clock says 95. The referee says free kick. What a time this would be to score. What a player they have to try and make the most of this opportunity. It's Ryan Manning on the left-hand side. Options amassing on the edge of the Borough box. Manning in behind the Borough back line. That's away by Fry, who's back on the pitch. Edozie, little cutback. Downs hobbles away from it. He made contact but couldn't make a telling touch. Here's Morris. Whittaker. And Southampton just kept getting bodies in the way as Borough couldn't break. Andy Madley's checked his watch. Callum Britton gets it back in. Is there time for one more chance? Fry. Malanda. Still with Fry. Back to Malanda. That's given straight to Shea Charles. Edozie dispossessed by Malanda. Whittaker can't take it with him. Manning takes it away. Back to Wood. Now Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Slung forward to Kyle Larin. Wrestling with Dale Fry. Gets the better of him this time, but at the expense of a throw-in on that far side. We're into the 7th minute of added time. Maybe an 8th to come as well. Bree forward from right back to take the throw-in. Andy Madley wants them to get on with it. It's backwards. Wood, edge of the centre circle. Across to Manning. Manning forward, down the left-hand side. Charles setting off after it. Gets a toe to it in front of Malanda. There's Fry to get across and smash it out of play. And still they go on. Well, no, they don't. Andy Madley blows the final whistle after 180 minutes. They cannot be separated. Espionage, flare-ups, an EFL Championship semi-final tie that's had pretty much everything from the first leg right the way through to the point we find ourselves now. There are players out on their feet out there. Riley McGree's goal after just 5 minutes gave Borough the lead. Ross Stewart's equaliser in added time at the first half levelled things up, and that's where we stand now, heading into half an hour, I should say, of added time. 2 15-minute halves to come, and if they cannot be separated after that, we will head to penalties to decide who plays Hull at Wembley Stadium in 11 days' time for a place in the Premier League. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back very shortly. After full time, it's Middlesbrough 1, Southampton 1, extra time on its way. Well, they had a brief moment of respite. Both teams congregating around their managers on the touchline. There is a huge prize on offer. A place at Wembley. For the first time this season for Borough, for the first time in 11 years in the playoff final for them. For the second time this season for Southampton. But the prize at stakes is a big one. The potential for a return to the Premier League for one of these two great clubs. It's been a fiercely contested semi-final second leg. The first leg was lacking goals. We've had them tonight from Riley McGree after 5 minutes and Ross Stewart in added time at the end of the first half. None since then. A goal in extra time might well be enough for either of these two teams. Otherwise, it'll be left to the lottery of penalties. And we are back underway. Borough playing from right to left. Southampton from left to right. We start with 15 minutes before they switch ends and go again. You have to feel for both of these sets of players. Supporters in here as well. You can cut the tension with a knife. A few just making their way back to their seats after dipping into the concourses for a refreshment. Maybe a bit of Dutch courage to steel themselves for this extra half an hour of playoff football. It's a treat for us. A real test for the 22 men out there. Borough have a throw-in down the right-hand side. Britton flings one into the penalty area, looking for Ayling. Away by Charles. McGree moves it on to Britton again. It's stabbed away. Only as far as target in the centre circle. Back out into the penalty area where Manning will get it away. Now Kyle Larin. Here's a Dozy. Bursting down the left-hand side. Britton came across. Britton concedes the foul. And there were changes during the game, so the starting 11s have shifted a bit. Daniel Perrett's in goal for Southampton. The back 4-4 Saints. Ryan Manning on the left-hand side, Bree on the right with Nathan Wood and the captain Taylor Harwood-Bellis at centre-back, Casper Yander and Finn Azaz in midfield now with Flynn Downs alongside them. Samuel Adozie and Shay Charles offering a bit of thrust down the wings. And Carl Larin is leading the line for Saints. Daniel Perretz. That's a wonderful touch. It was a clearance by the goalkeeper and Perretz made it on the halfway line. Probably volleyed ball out as well to Samuel Adozie, one of the changes. Shay Charles lets it run. Here is Adozie on the left-hand side. Britton will look to get in his way. Little deflection off of a Borough body. For Borough, it's Solbrun in goal. Luke Ayling, Dale Fry, and Adelson Malander. The three centre-backs, Britton, Callum Britton and Matt Targett. The two wing-backs, Aidan Morris and their goal scorer, Riley McGree in midfield. Alan Brown on as a substitute for Tommy Conway. Leo Castledine replaced David Strelets. And Morgan Whittaker as well, still out there. 14 goals this season for Morgan Whittaker. He will be a threat if they can get the ball to him. So it's McGree. Now Britton. Castledine was lurking edge of the penalty area. Poked away by Wood. Matt Targett, the former Southampton man himself. Morris back to Britton. Tries to get his cross towards Castledine. It's brave defending. Oh, Flynn Downs was it in there. Oh, left-hand side aimed at Kyle Larin. Across goes Adelson Malander. Malander. Morris Fry. Luke Ayling. Part of a incident in the first half. If you are only just joining us here in extra time, there was a moment in that first half where he was upset with something Taylor Harwood-Bellis said. The reports circulating as he alleged that Harwood-Bellis made a discriminatory comment that Ayling took umbrage to. There is previous with that. Luke Ayling suffers with a stammer. And we can't speculate on what was said to Luke Ayling by the Southampton captain, but one thing is sure is that Andy Madley saw fit to wander across to the sidelines, report it to the fourth official. And there was an angry reaction from Tondereckert, the Southampton manager. Shoved out at Kim Hellberg, his opposite number, and they're to be separated in that first half. These two sides don't really have a history of a massive rivalry. Well, that might change after this playoff semi-final when all the dust has settled. Build up to it, all the hallmarks of a espionage thriller. Football itself more akin to a heavyweight slugfest, though, as Finn Azaz caught a shove from Matt Targett. It's back with Peretz. Wood to Manning out on the left-hand side for Southampton. Back to Nathan Wood. Peretz. It's away by Harwood-Bellis. Drops to Matty Targett. Castledine slipped. Downs came away with it. Here's Azaz on the right hand side. Cross was stale. Fry. It was a loose ball backwards, but fortunately from a Borough perspective, Sol Bryn kept his concentration. Britain to Malanda. Targett. Castledine. Brown. Can't find McGree. It's good work from Casper Yander. Manning looking for a dozy. Back by Malanda to Bryn. To clear it under pressure. Wood given away to Whittaker. McGree outnumbered and dispossessed in the Saints' half of the field. Here's Flynn Downs. Harwood-Bellis. Kyle Larin. Towards the corner. So Fry, has that stayed in play? It hasn't, and it'll be a corner. It's been one of their strengths tonight, Southampton. Andy Madley's just going to step in and prevent a bit of pushing and shoving here. Towards the near post. The header is over the crossbar from Nathan Wood. It was a decent delivery from Ryan Manning. And it took a little nick off a Borough body on the way through as well. So they'll have another one here, Southampton. In there. A decent ball. Manning sorts his feet out on the edge of the penalty area. Edozie pushed away by Bryn. And it evaded Harwood Bellis as well, who was right on top of the goalkeeper. Brilliant chance for Southampton. Hammered towards goal there by Edozie. And Sol Bryn, not for the first time recently, has got a really important save to make, and he's done it brilliantly. Little deflection off of Matt Tarkin on the way through. Well, it looks like it's Southampton who have the momentum still here. Finizaz coming in from the left-hand side to lay it off to Wood. Yander, Azaz again, linking up with Bree. Keeping it moving here, Southampton. Borough can't clear their lines. Looking for Bree again. This time Kasper Yander gives it away. Well, since David Strelets went off, it's been no focal point for Borough to hit. Azaz, that's against Malander. Bounces awkwardly off the back of the head of Castledine. Downs. Harwood Bellis. Flynn Downs in there. Away by Dale Fry. Here's Nathan Wood. Manning. Malander across to intercept the ball towards Larin. There's Whittaker nipping in front of Edozie. Keeps it away though. Downs with the interception. Heavy touch by Larin. Aidan Morris. Whittaker trying to force his way down that right hand side. Morris with the challenge. There's McGree. That's a foul though by Aidan Morris. It's a stressful moment for all fans, Borough or Southampton ones. If you can't keep bear to watch. Their fingernails are being nibbled down at the moment. Manning. Ayling. Azaz. To Yander. Here's Ryan Manning again. Swung into the penalty area. Wood rises. And the header bounces over the byline. Another goal kick. 30 seconds of this first period of extra time remaining. And still no change to the scoreline. Surely thoughts will start to be turning to penalty kicks. The agony and the ecstasy of football writ large. No added time at the end of this first 15-minute period. Andy Madley blows the whistle. It's still Southampton 1, Borough 1. We have 15 minutes remaining of open football before it's down to penalties. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back very shortly. Well, a swift turnaround between these two 15-minute periods of extra time. And Borough are going to take the opportunity to make a change. They're going to withdraw Riley McGree, and on comes Jeremy Sarmiento. The man on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. The Ecuadorian international. So a bit more attacking thrust. They struggle to get out of their own half. They are back underway in added time. And Southampton have a free kick for a challenge on Shea Charles by Leo Castledine. Back on his feet, Shea Charles. It was just an outstretched arm from Castledine. Spotted by Andy Madley. Ball is in the centre circle, and it's going to be James Bree. In fact, he'll walk away from it and leave it to Ryan Manning. Manning into the box, away by Dale Fry. Bree. It's backwards to Casper Yander. Forward to Whittaker. Strong from Yander. Downs now just outside the centre circle. Wood. Yander. And they've got a player down, it's Samuel Edozie. Just holding his left shoulder here. Alan Brown slid in to win the ball back, and Samuel Edozie went tumbling over, landed awkwardly on that arm, and he seems to be in some pain here. He came on as a change for Leo Cienza in the second half. Oh, missing a number of players as well tonight. Cameron Archer still on the bench though, if they want to call upon him. At the moment, Van der Recker unmoved. Well, they're doing their best, the locals, to sing Saints to success. Travelling Borough fans have been in fine voice as well tonight. Sure, a few of the Middlesbrough supporters took kindly to some of the Southampton costumes that we've seen this evening. The odd ghillie suits and camouflage, just to rub some salt into the wounds about the spying, the espionage story that dominated the build-up to this game. Back with Peretz. Edozie off the pitch for the moment. Flicks backwards off of Ayling. And Solbrin can't keep it in play. So Southampton will have the corner. Minutes of the second half of extra time gone. Just 10 remaining. Saints with a corner. Ryan running over it. The in-swinger towards the near post. Bounces all the way across. Larin got something on it. Edozie back on the pitch, turned it towards goal. That's away by Malander. Strong from Brown. Nods it forward. Sarmiento will chase that one down. Ayling can't get there before Manning. He ran into target, felt he was fouled. Andy Madley disagrees. Towards Castledine on the right hand side. Here's Leo Castledine trying to link up with Whittaker. The Middlesbrough's attacking movement is just absolutely evaporated. It has been missing for an hour or so now. It's been so difficult for them to keep the ball in Southampton territory. Maybe they can now with Ayling. Sarmiento. Target. Back to Luke Ayling. Whittaker wants it in the middle. Still with Ayling though. Castledine. Luke Ayling was fouled. And Kyle Larin. There'll be a free kick for Middlesbrough. Out on the left-hand side. Ayling with a bit of cramp. Helped back to his feet by Matt Targett. Jack Stephens is over there, one of the Southampton substitutes, just gesturing to his watch, citing the referee. Make sure this is all added on. The gentleman can't bear to watch a few Southampton fans with their heads in hands. Target flicked on by Alan Brown, but it wouldn't drop for Dale Fry. Instead it's Peretz that claims it. Here's Harwood-Bellis. Switched out to Azaz on the left-hand side. Scored a wonderful goal against Manchester City at Wembley, Finn Azaz. And we have the chance to do something similar in a few weeks' time, in 11 days' time, I should say, if Southampton can get there. A big if, though. 7 minutes to go. Edozie, left-hand side, prodded away by Callum Britton. Here's Nathan Wood. Harwood-Bellis. Wood. Casper Yander. Flynn Downs. Ryan Manning. Clever ball. Azaz. It's too close to the goalkeeper. Just tried to spin on it with his back to goal and put it into an area more than anything. Could wrap his left boot round it though, Finn Azaz. And Sol Bryn bowls out to that left-hand side to Matt Targett. Downs is in the way again. Charles. Larin. Yander. Downs takes over. Here comes Manning again. Manning out to Edozie. Britton trudges out to meet him. Edozie with space in towards the corner of the 6-yard box. Manning's touch invited the challenge from Malanda, and now Borough can start to break. Here's Leo Castledine. A really good tackle from Flynn Downs to win it back. Now a couple out of position for Borough. Alan Brown having to fill in temporarily at right back. Callum Britton is cutting a very tired looking figure as he trudges back into position. That's an overhit pass by Ryan Manning. Kyle Larin will just about keep it in play on the far side. Central position is Nathan Wood. Now here's Manning. Stepping inside goes Casper Yander. Edozie shifted onto his right. Dale Fry gets up. Flynn Downs gets it down. Yander can't get past Morris. Manning for Edozie. Left hand side here for Southampton. Pull back to Ryan Manning. High towards the back post, it's too high. Well, they've got a body over there, Southampton, to keep the move alive. Breeze cross away by Dale Fry. Wood for Manning. Edozie with the cutback. A slip. Larin couldn't sort his feet out. It was Luke Ayling that went over. I'm not sure Larin was expecting it. Took a touch. Didn't ever pull the trigger. In there by Charles all the way through! Oh my word! Shay Charles! Put it into an area. Dale Fry went up to get something on it. Didn't make contact. And Sol Bryn can do little more than watch it as that nettles into the bottom corner. St Mary's erupts. Could he be the man to send Southampton to Wembley for the second time this season, Shay Charles? He did it against Arsenal. Has he now done it too against Middlesbrough? Thought the chance had gone as Kyle Larin couldn't get the shot away, and then the effort from Bree smacked into Whittaker. Charles just shifted it onto his left and lifted it into the penalty area. Dale Fry never got off the ground. And Sol Bryn was clearly expecting the defender to deal with it. Never moved the Borough goalkeeper. It's in off the post. And with 3 minutes of extra time remaining, it is Southampton planning for a return trip to Wembley. He's out on his feet, Shay Charles. Most of them are out there. Southampton 2, Middlesbrough 1. Saints changes in the aftermath of the goal. Cameron Bragg and Wellington both coming on. And Samuel Edozie will be unable to continue after that knock to the right shoulder. Bragg will replace Yander. Kim Helberg looks stunned. It's forward by Bryn. It's overhit. It's out of play for a throw-in. A change too for Middlesbrough. Sontje Hansen, the Dutchman, on as a late gamble. Manning. Won by Brown. Drops to Hansen. Here's Sarmiento. Nice turn. Sarmiento for Alan Brown. Looking for Hansen. Does well to poke it away from Bragg. Now Whittaker. Shot from a long way out. Added time now on extra time. 5 minutes of it. All is not lost to Borough. Not yet. Not now. Decent ball down the left-hand side for Hansen. Tries the pull back. Might find Brown. Brown with the effort. Drilled at Ryan Manning. Morris gets there in front of Wellington. That will be a set piece, a free kick for Middlesbrough. Callum Britton's going to take it. 2 hours ago, he set up Riley McGree for the opener. Now tries to do the same for a late equaliser. Hung in there and away by Ryan Manning. Target back into the mix. Effort from a long way out. Callum Britton tried to hit it on the volley. Skews off the outside of his boot, will be a goal kick. A 100-yard stare from Kim Helberg. It's a familiar story for Middlesbrough. Son Johansson replaced Luke Ayling, by the way. Bit of gamesmanship from Daniel Peretz, who delays the goal kick. He's going to be shown a yellow card by Andy Madley. Sarmiento. Britton. Up goes Castledine. Drops to Whittaker. That's charged down. Maybe a chance. Target. Sarmiento tries to sort his feet out. Britton in the penalty area. Azaz nips in. Sol Bryn gets forward. It was aimed at the goalkeeper. Azaz. Wellington goes down. Andy Madley gives Southampton the free kick. We're into the final minute of added time. That's straight out of play. Britton into Malanda. Away, a long way forward. Dale Fry stayed forward as an auxiliary centre forward. Out on that left-hand side for a Borough throw-in. They need the ball back though. They've played the 5 minutes. Southampton want the whistle. Here's Matt Targett. Caught late. Lifted into the penalty area. A whistle for the challenge on Matt Targett by Kyle Larin. He's booked. Bryn forward again. One final free kick. Everyone's up there now. It'll be Targett to deliver. Malanda drops to Hansen on the half volley. It's over the crossbar. And Andy Madley blows the whistle. It began with a whisper in the bushes of Teesside, and it ends with a roar that has shaken the foundations of St Mary's. Southampton have won the battle on the grass, but the war for a place at Wembley is far from over. The history books will say the Saints are marching on, but tonight they march under the longest, darkest shadow in playoff history. After 210 minutes of exhausting high-stakes football, the deadlock finally broke in spectacular fashion. When it thought we were destined for the lottery of penalties, a cruel end to a cruel tie, but Shea Charles had other ideas. His 116th minute strike sent this stadium into a delirium, but it was equal parts joy and relief. He's done it again. Southampton booked their place at Wembley thanks to Shea Charles, just as they did against Arsenal. Middlesbrough were valiant warriors on the road to the very end. They struck first through Riley McGree and looked to have the tactical measure of the Saints, but they couldn't withstand the late surge. Ross Stewart provided the lifeline just before the break, and from that moment on it was a test of nerve that Southampton eventually passed. Kim Hellberg's men leave with their hearts broken, but significantly they leave with their boots still laced. Borough are expected to continue training this week, awaiting a verdict that could yet change everything. We cannot ignore the reality of this victory. The result is effectively provisional. While the fans celebrate on the pitch, an independent disciplinary commission is preparing to meet. Southampton have been charged with a breach of Rule 127, a rule created specifically to prevent exactly what allegedly happened at Rockcliffe Park. In 2019, Leeds were fined, but in 2026, the commission has the power to impose a sporting sanction. Borough have been pushing for that. Points deductions, heavy fines, or even the unprecedented step of expelling tonight's winners from the competition. All options remain on the table. Borough want that sporting penalty, arguing that no fine can compensate for a breach of good faith in a game of this magnitude. As it stands, Southampton have put their date with Hull City under the arch. They are deserving winners tonight, but until that commission delivers its verdict, the champagne must remain on ice. Will the Saints be at Wembley on May 23rd, or will this victory be struck from the record in one of the most sensational disciplinary rulings in English football history? For Tondereckert and his players, they've done their job. They've moved from 21st in the table to the brink of the Premier League. But tonight, the final whistle isn't the end. It's just the start of the most high-stakes legal battle the Championship has ever seen. The lights stay on at St Mary's, and the questions remain unanswered. Full time after extra time. Southampton 2, Middlesbrough 1. There's a big party going on in St Mary's. How long it will remain? Well, that remains to be seen. The Saints have won the game, but the Spygate saga may yet have the final word. From me, Charlie McGuinness, thank you for joining us for a night of pure, unadulterated drama. Good night.